morning, Facebook. I'm 4 minutes late because my kettle decided to take its time boiling up, and this is a coffee morning, so there's a reason we call it that. I have to get my coffee to start this. So I hope everyone is keeping well. It is cold, icy outside today in Drogheda, but it's kind of nice. It's blue and lighting up nicely. And I'm trying to keep warm. I'm a cold creature and I don't like being cold. So anyway, today is going to be a device special. We're going to focus on questions related to people and their children and their children's use of different devices. So hopefully it's of some use and some benefit for you. And what I will say at the very start is that I have my own opinions on when kids should have devices, how long they should have devices, but that's for me and that's for my family, and there's some logic behind the reasons for it, but we'll discuss that throughout this episode. But what I do want to say is that for each of us we have to decide what's right for our own families, and that's the most important thing. So while you might listen to what I say today and kind of go, I don't agree with that, that's absolutely fine. You find what works best for your family. But if you find that things aren't working, then maybe you need to reassess things, like we all have to. Before we start, I do want to remind people about the Patreon page, Al O'Donoghue Podcasts, where you can help support these podcasts and my upcoming podcasts, which will be hopefully announced very soon. I've got some new things coming out, and you can help out on a monthly basis for the price of one of these little cups of coffee, which would be fantastic. So head on over to patreon.com. I think it's /Al O'Donoghue Podcasts. I'm pretty sure that's it. And if you want to help out or support or just spread the word, that'd be great. Thanks very much. So anyway, on with the questions from our listeners. And as always, I really appreciate people taking the time to send your questions in, because things are obviously frustrating people enough to send in a question. So I do appreciate you taking the time for that. So the first one: my 10-year-old son has recently got Snapchat, and I'm a bit concerned about what he will be sending to others and what he will be sent. We let him have it as all his friends have it, and he was feeling left out. Any advice on how to manage this? So I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of people, that their children have been allowed to get social media and interact with the world around them, and there are lots of positives for this, but there are also some potential downsides, and I know we've discussed them a lot in the past, but we'll touch on a few of them now as well. Sometimes as parents we don't want our children feeling left out, because we don't want them getting upset and we don't want them having to deal with maybe being bullied over something. But the flip side is, or certainly something to think about, is, are our children emotionally developed enough to be able to manage what they can see? So when we were kids, or when I was a kid, there was no phones. So, if somebody was getting bullied when they went home, unless they were getting bullied at home, they closed the front door and they could forget about it. They didn't have to worry about the bullies getting them. That's changed with social media, where they have unfiltered access to social media. So it's about you taking responsibility as a parent to manage that. Like, I know this is going to sound a bit extreme, but would you hand your children a box of steak knives and turn around and say, I'm really worried about, they might cut themselves with these steak knives? If they're not ready to manage it, if they're not able to cope with what they may see, like the big, I get a lot of children being referred to me with severe anxiety, and a lot of it is to do with social media, not just bullying, but what they're seeing. They're not able to process what they're seeing. So there are, like, so many people use Instagram. It's fantastic. There are lovely photographs, but there's also a lot of horrible stuff or inappropriate stuff for children at that age. So it's part of our job to manage that. We have to keep our children safe. We're not going to send our children out into a part of the world where they don't know, we don't know, and just let them walk off and say, we'll see you in a couple of hours. We don't do that. Why don't we do that? So that our children are safe. Sending them online is the exact same if we're not managing it and supporting them through it. So if we're not looking at what they're looking at to see what are they actually seeing, because they may not be able to cope with something that they see, and that heightens their stresses. Then there's the other side of it, which is the pressure that they feel under to conform to what everybody else is doing. So your child may get bullied if you say, no, you can't use social media. Your child may feel extremely upset. That's life. That's life. You know, our children are not going to grow up and have everybody say yes to them. It's important that if we don't feel that it's the right time for our children to have social media, that we say no. Okay, now, you have obviously decided to say yes, and that's your prerogative as a parent, but it's clear you're worried about what might happen. So it is really important that you go and you research what kind of monitoring software you can get that you feel is appropriate. So like I've discussed before, there are plenty of monitoring softwares, just not my phone there, plenty of monitoring software out there that will monitor everything your child does, will monitor a little bit of what your child does, will monitor very little. So it's up to you to go and check it out. But that way you can see what they're sending and what's being sent to them, because it's not always about our child being bullied, but sometimes our child would be the bully. Like, we seem to forget that if a child is being bullied or an adult is being bullied, that there's a bully. Now, they may not realise that what they're doing is bullying, but they're bullying. So if you're really concerned about what it is that he's going to be sending, put rules in place. Talk about keeping yourself safe online. Talk about what's okay and what's not okay to send. Talk about if you ever feel worried or concerned about anything you see, you come and talk. You will not get in trouble. You'll not get in trouble. So if somebody sends you something that's inappropriate, or you come across something that's inappropriate, don't worry about coming and talking to us about it, because the most important thing is to keep you safe and okay. And I really want to emphasize that it is a part of our job. We take care of our kids, we feed them, we clothe them, we show them how to ride a bike, we show them how to cross the road, we show them how to not walk up and grab a coal from a fire. This is just as important. We really, really, really need to be parents. To be parents. We can be friends with our kids when they're 18, and that's fine. But while they're children, we need to support them, because their brains haven't fully developed so that they can manage necessarily everything that they see, or to understand what they see. And that's the big thing. They might turn around and go, why is that person doing that? So it's really important. And a lot of people have said to me in the past that they notice a significant change in their children's behaviour once they start using social media. So again, you are the parent. You can take it back. If you're seeing a change in their behaviour, say you can't have it, or we are going to restrict it, or if your behaviour changes, then we are going to reduce the amount of time that you can have. This isn't a blanket thing. You can take social media off your child's device. You can take the device off your child. You are the parent. You are the parent. You can change the ground. You can change the playing field. Absolutely. If your child's behaviour does not warrant having this stuff, and if you're seeing them become obsessed, if you're seeing them become overly reliant on what they're seeing and hearing online, well, then you need to step in, because they're not going to do it. There are very few children around the world who will turn around and go, here you go, Mum, here you go, Dad, there's my phone. There's just too much stuff on there that I can't process. That's not going to happen, because they want that connection with the outside world. So it's up to you to step in and do it. Be the parent. And I don't want to sound preachy, but if it does, that's because it's true. It's your job. Good morning, Jennifer. Lovely to see you. Hello, Fruka. Josephine. When my eldest was 12, she got a phone with Snapchat, and within weeks she got very depressed and withdrawn. We found out she was being bullied, so we took it off the phone, put password protection on it. Big difference in her now. She's 14. There you go. And Josephine, well done for actually taking it off and taking the responsibility. It's really important that we act as parents and don't. It's amazing the amount of parents who feel like they can't actually do those things, that they can't step in and change the goalposts. You absolutely can. Okay, I need a drink off that rant. Okay, next up. My twin boys are addicted to their PlayStation. Every day there's an argument to get them to do homework and then come down for dinner. They get really aggressive after playing online with friends. What can we do to stop this? I suppose in some ways this is an extension of what we've just been discussing. It's very clear from what you're saying that your kid's behaviour is negatively impacted by the use of the PlayStation or whatever device it might be, whatever console they may use. So you need to step in and definitely take action here. What I would suggest is that you would take the PlayStation away during the week, because if they're not doing the homework, if they're not coming down for dinner during the week, if there's arguments over it, just take the option out altogether. Now, they will kick and scream and fight and complain, and you'll have to listen to whinging about it, but very quickly they will get used to the new routine, because kids are way more adaptable than adults, so they will get used to it very quickly. You may have two children who are very headstrong, and it may take a month of whinging and moaning, but the more they whinge and moan about it, the longer the time is. So it's very easy for you to say, well, look, if you complain today, we're adding another week on. If you complain tomorrow, we're adding another week on. We're adding another week on. So your behaviour is directly impacting on the amount of time that you have to take to get this PlayStation back. And then you restrict the time that they have at the weekends until you feel that they can manage themselves and their behaviour while playing. Then you can also look at taking it offline. Now, they will kick and scream because it's now not just about playing the game, it is about playing it online with your friends. Again, parents will worry about their children getting bullied, their children being under pressure because they're the ones that aren't playing online. Your children will get over it. Your children will get over it. And if they get to 25 and they turn around and say, you were the worst parent ever because you took, you wouldn't let me play online with my friends when I was 12 years old, apologise. Or tell them that just shows that you've had a pretty decent life, that's the biggest issue that you have with me. So it's all right to say no and pare it back. But I certainly would not have your children playing PlayStation during the week because the behaviour doesn't warrant it. Like, you shouldn't have to listen to complaining about getting homework done, or you shouldn't have to listen to complaining about coming down for dinner, or seeing aggression in your children because of what they've been playing. The other thing is, look at what they're playing, because a lot of parents will just say, well, you know, I let my children play 18 games because everybody else does. There's a reason that games are 18, because they're not suitable. The content isn't suitable for under 18s. You know, you might decide, well, it's okay for my kids, I don't mind. That's fine. But don't complain about them being aggressive when they're playing aggressive games. That's your choice to allow it. So you need to, I suppose, step up and kind of go, no, this is not okay. And the fact that you're even sending an email in shows that it's not okay. So it's really important to step in, cut out during the week, and them getting it at the weekend is purely dependent on their behaviour during the week. And give it a go and see. What I will say to you is, if there's two parents in the house, you need to both be singing from the same hymn sheet, and you both need to sit down and make a plan of how you're going to do it and how you're going to deal with it, and then letting the children know this is what the new normal is going to be. No PlayStation during the week, and you get it the weekend if you do not complain, and this is how long you get it for. And if you do complain, we're going to knock 15 minutes off the amount of time that you have the weekend, or 20 minutes, or whatever it might be. So you're very clear from the off, this is what the boundary are, this is what the consequences are, and put them into play, and you need to be consistent. What I will say is, do come back to me if you need to, and I'll happily converse with you, okay? Okay, last one for today. My daughter, who's 11, keeps talking to me about wanting to be an Instagram or YouTube influencer. I have no idea what she's talking about. I want to keep her safe and don't want her sharing everything about her life. But at the same time, I don't want to block her dream. What should I do? Okay. Well, the first thing I'd say is it's important to arm yourself with the information. So find out what Instagram influencers are, what YouTube influencers are. It is the thing. I remember one of my kids saying to me they want to be a YouTuber when they get older. And they had no idea what it was, but just because everybody spoke about it, they want to do it. So what I say to you is, again, look at what she's putting up online. So for any of us as parents, there is a discussion to have with our kids around what's appropriate and what's not appropriate to put up. So not constantly putting up all your personal information online. That's not necessary. Don't put up don't put up your address, your date of birth, your phone number, that kind of thing online where anybody can access it. Then talk about the types of photographs and stuff. And look, there are very, very few 11-year-old influencers on Instagram or YouTube. There's very few. Now there's some that are making loads of money, but what's it about? It's about managing it. So go get yourself armed, learn more about it, and then speak to her about what she wants to do. And then, what's the type of content she wants? What is who does she want to reach? What's her target audience? What is it about it that she wants to do? And then you can make a decision whether you think it's appropriate or not. So for me, I might decide that, it's not appropriate for my 11-year-old to have an Instagram account. But for you, you might kind of go, well, actually, this is something that she really wants to do, and I've researched it, and I'm putting I'm going to monitor it myself, so I'm okay for her to do that. And great, she may become an extremely successful influencer. You may all be able to retire within 2 or 3 years, depending on what the content she's putting up. So and I do want to stress, what I'm not saying is, I'm not here saying that devices are bad, the internet is bad, social media is bad. That's not what I'm saying. There's so many good things about it, but it's about us helping our children navigate their way through learning what's appropriate and what's okay for them to put online. So it's about taking the time to research it. It's about deciding and sitting down with my child and discussing it, and then going yes or no. It's okay with me, it's not okay with me. And then you work away from there. Right, that's us. The devices one can be a divisive one when it comes to parents, because some parents will go, I don't care what they do, what they play with, because that's just the way the world is. And it's true, it's not changing. We're not going to go to a time where there isn't social media, where our children aren't interacting online. That's just part of the world we live in, but it doesn't mean we have to just make it a carte blanche where they can do what they want, see what they want, and then have to manage the fallout from all that. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please do check out the Patreon page, and if you can support with the price of a cuppa, that would be fantastic. I have lots of big plans that unfortunately I can't announce yet. I keep saying that every week, I've got big plans about it, but I can't announce it just yet. And when we're ready to announce, it'll be fantastic. I hope. But with your help with the patreon.com/Aladunhu podcast, it will make this more manageable for me. All right. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Take care.